Right, ladies and gentlemen, I bring warm greetings to Una from the TNN TV Media Empire. Me where the broadcast to Una today. My name Prince Emil Koma, and me now the host or anchor, as some people will say, at the platform tonight, the 27th of July 2022. Very important things then for talk about, but today we go try for focus on a matter what I call a very uncivil war. I don't know why they call it civil. I can understand, but don't agree why they call them a civil war. But this is what you want of much today. Something will happen in our country back in 1990. So when I keep tuned, this now the then and now media empire and more to come. Right, Fambulem, once more, welcome to the TNN Media Empire. Me and Prince Emil Koma once again, and we come to una live and direct on the people's favorite and undiluted and straight talking, straight up channel where facts na a religion for we. Today, like I say, we want to talk about the conflicts in Sierra Leone. We broke out on the 23rd of March, 1991. And they all begin with a small border crossing from the Liberian Sierra Leonean town. Oh, come on. Fambule unabia with me. Hello? Are you joining? Okay, I'm live. I will sign you on. Don't worry, I'm live. Bye. Okay, Fambulem. sorry about that. I'm really sorry about that. So now one of the people that were supposed to join we tonight. Um Apparently they struggle. We get one or two people that will join me for Rob Mott on this all important subject matter. And and um we could try to bring them come on. And I want to apologize for the distraction. But of course, we are all in this together, so we get for try for show some level of understanding. We understand say some people and they try for make light of social media. But of course, these people are jokers. Then see social media big when it didn't have in favor or say something at in favor, and then see social media small or idlers. They don't get. I remember from the very beginning there were so many people who don't get no idea at all as to waiting being developed or waiting and being get for content with. As a consequence of that, a lot of people got left behind. Anyway, like I said, we get one or two people who are supposed to join me. Hopefully, then go join me for let we got more on this business here tonight. So, like I've been the say, Fambulem, it was back in March of 1991. To be exact, on the 23rd day of March 1991. Now we hear the first sound of gunfire na a border town between Liberia and Sierra Leone called Bomaru. That na the eastern side of Sierra Leone, we border Liberia. This small gunfire we hear, or this strange, not really strange because before then we don't get any double wusu them, but it was more internal. This seemed like an incursion from another country into Sierra Leone, and that being matter a lot, yeah, to some people them, but them be taken lightly because just imagine two, three people and come and fire a few gunshots. Of course, it caused confusion. People then run helter skelter, but nobody knew that this was the beginning of a serious armed conflict in the country. We've been here for last for over 11 years. We devastate the country, a country we already been devastated socially, in fabric, they already been the collapse, and the economy was in tatters. In other words, we get for admit that at the time, the country was a failed state. And I say so because I lived there during that period in time. I been get locked for come out inside there. But at some point, I was in there and I saw the breaking down of the society, the moral compass of the society being broken, the economy being broken, inflation running rampant, prices of goods and services. And that now, if you find them, you cannot afford them. Usai mosquito coil, that be luxury and things like that. So this conflict will begin at Bomaru over that period of time, we will say on the 23rd of March. It been there for last for 11 years, and it damage even a country will be even more damage. And that bitter what the way the RUF, as we come for can know them, unleash, yeah, on the civilian population, because that's what happens. The civilian population, they in between a fighting force. But the Sierra Leonean case now be a basket case where the world been come for can study and conflict study curriculum them the world over, renowned universities both in Africa and the West, they don't collect data from that what the way happen so that they go understand how to go forward with peace and conflict issues. In fact, then come out from conflict resolution to conflict prevention. This is where we are now. We don't need for wait for let the thing happen. We need for nip at the board for avoid what we see now we country Sierra Leone, now Liberia, now many other countries then we don't fed them civil war. I mean a civil war there. So the consternation of many, a lot of people say, how did a country and I say this because I was part and parcel of that fabric of that society. How a country which be largely peaceful, we began peace, loving, and understanding. Probably there was some things simmering down, all boiled down to the economic situation in the country. But largely we were peaceful. Neighbor go tell neighbor do. Neighbor go come visit other neighbor. When neighbor get burying, the other neighbor go sympathize with that burying those day. How come a people of this kind manage for get engulfed just over this period of time into something so horrible, unleash that kind of horror and brutality upon themselves? It was unimaginable at the time. But due to studies, even though that not to sanction in waiting happen, we get for can understand say now the political sentiment we been on the undergo na the country. And this not to as a consequence of the 1980s or 1970s, but it even go beyond. So we might go down into a little bit of history for touch on them basic facts there. For touch on them basic facts there. We might have to go into basic history. So for understand this, we need for understand a few things. I did try for bring them people there in and a sim for the struggle. So let me play with quick intro while I get to one or two of them with one final advice on waiting for do. Invite, yeah, una bear with me. Una bear with me, please. Sometimes the system itself can misbehave. The system itself can misbehave. um you understand this technology age where we depend. Sometimes it does misbehave. But the topic here tonight is okay, okay, okay. Yeah. Okay, from Willem, like I say, wanna bear with me. This are the do and solo, not get anybody for help me tonight. Please try new link. Yep. Okay. Not get anybody for help tonight, so I do and singularly, but this is very, very important. Yeah. Mm, very, very important that we listen into this. Because, like I say, Sierra Leoneans are not going to tolerate this anymore. This thing is not going to happen to us anymore. And no way that we're going to tolerate this. So, with two guests they don't join, let me just bring them come on. Very important guests them tonight. In fact, they're helping to panel this particular program here tonight. So I will come to them shortly, and I apologize for the little bit of mishap in the connection. It was all my fault. So I've been just to say, in Sierra Leone, we know say a civil war broke out back, and on civil war column. We understand why they say civil because now civilian business when they take up guns. But the war we on civil, okay? On the 23rd of March 1991, this conflict began, and at the border town at the eastern side of Sierra Leone, we border Liberia, now the town we then called Bomaru, few gunshots, and many people overlook them. Of course, any side where people are hearing gunshots, it is send panic. But nobody not be in the wildest dream, apart from the people who not been the plotters them, not be ever think say that this is a conflict that will last for 11 years and devastate a country which be even more devastated previously, economically, politically, and socially. I mean, part of the issue will bring the war in the first place. So a lot of people will disagree, but it makes a lot of sense that there was a legitimacy to the conflict because of the social degradation, the political degradation, the economic woes of the country, that opportunities were no longer available. The country was a failed state by my estimation because it meets all the textbook definition of a failed state. A lot of people became, amazed as to how come a country or a people we been look after each other. In other words, the social fabric of the society been the hold prior to a certain period of time where there was due respect for each other. Neighbor then be respect each other. A neighbor go look after the picking of another neighbor. If burying day na other na the neighbor in host, the other host will bury no day, then go observe that burying day and even sympathize and mourn with the neighbor. How come all of this change that Sierra Leoneans then go point gun at each other and decide, yeah, for go down this path? For help we for understand this logic here, I don't know whether for call and logic today, is a senior man in the community, a man well established in terms of Sierra Leonean politics and history, going back. And this is the reason, one of the reasons why we bring and come for. Let we understand because this conflict not to today begin, not to yesterday begin. It go even beyond colonial during colonial times and up to the early stages of independence and then coming forward. And it's none other but Mr. Mohammed Jallo Boy Jamboria. Mr. Jamboria, welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you, sir, but you have called my name wrongly.
Mohammed Boy Jallo Jamboria.
I have a unique name because I'm the Kabu Man Sabah.
Kabu Man Sabah. We will get you a chance for let you explain that at some point during this point because a lot of people don't understand all of them culturally then cultural names there which get a very big meaning. But I hope sir I do you justice by try for call and rightfully Mohammed Boy
Yes,
Jallo
sir.
Jamboria.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you very
And I
much.
hope every sister they agree. I don't know if they're online with me.
Yes, it is online, but I think he mute him a microphone for good reasons where I understand. But again, if
Okay.
you need for acknowledge the and this person is none other than a familiar voice on this platform, and she is Sister Janet Mata Musa. Janet, if you have for unmute you microphone and acknowledge yeah,
Hello,
okay.
everybody.
I know I'll see you face today. Show me your
No, me
face
not
today.
a girl. Nobody receive me face.
Well, me know what pass you now because me are vexed with the idiot business where they go now country.
Anyway,
So
anyway,
anyway,
on a
this not
serious
the
note,
this not the issue. This is not the issue on this platform, yeah,
yes,
even on serious issues, we can show
yes,
light-hearted moments and good
oh
humor.
yes,
Because
oh yes,
somehow, your life has to continue. And
oh
it's
yes.
pathetic because we will even show some pictures today
Mhm.
where every time I look at them, I can't stop, tearing up or even allow the
Of
water for
course,
run down the eyes.
oh
Very
yes.
pathetic. And this is why Sierra Leoneans, they say, we must forgive but never forget, and we should say
Yes.
never again. But are
Mhm.
we seeing sentiments of the past being expressed now where go lead we to such a path again? Nobody, I believe, is praying for that. But sometimes we actions the way we take it make we sleepwalk into this. So that bring with big brother Mr. Jallo Jamboria into the
Um,
picture. For let
Prince,
you
I
help.
want cut you quick. I want cut you
Yeah,
quick.
sure, sure. Feel
We
free.
can't.
That's the point
Yes,
about this program.
yes,
When you get a point,
yes,
feel free for slicing.
yes. We cannot talk about this program without not pay respect for our fallen brothers and sisters. It's very
Absolutely,
important.
I agree.
If
So
you're
pay
looking
us
at
that
one
homage,
minute.
my dear sister.
Yes.
I absolutely agree. Sorry about this audience.
Well, we just want to say we apologize to the one that we alive, we suffer through the war, the one that we get caught we're amputated. We also say condolences to to the one that we fall uselessly for no reason at all. we will forever, they will forever live, because their memory not go lost, because they will be part of the history. So at this moment, I just want to say quietly to we safe. Let me just pray. I like 1 minute safe. Hmm.
Many thanks for that, and can I express my sentiment with my sister, and I'm sure with we other guests, that we all pray for the souls of those departed through that brutal and gruesome civil war. May their soul
Yes.
rest in perpetual peace. And
Amen.
those that have survived
Amen.
this gruesome war, which involved every one of us, but somehow we managed to escape wholly. In other words, we get
Yes.
everything intact. We did lose some things, but material things, and now we continue life after that. But some people were not that fortunate, and as we speak today,
Yes.
we get people. This was not very long ago, and as we dey talk
No.
today, people where they cut the limbs, they still live in the country, and people we perpetrate that brutality they upon them, they still they
Yes.
pass by each other. So the question
Yes.
here is: has the recommendations of the TRC been carried out? Is it been fulfilled? Well, like I say again, we get with big water. We don't know what you want for say, but we expect a
Yes.
perspective of So the floor is all yours, sir.
Thank you very much, Prince. And as we sister rightly come out with, Lord, we pray for the one that we lost their lives unnecessarily.
Mm. Mm.
And let God put wisdom in our salon. Because we country, now wisdom we lack, now I make everything they go wrong. Honestly, we have no business to go to war. We had no business to go to war. And we have no business to be behaving the way we behave right now to ourselves in Sierra Leone, except for the fact that we lack a number of things them now we country. And then things that way we lack. Of late, I don't see them, but people think I'm being rude. I'm not being rude. At 65 plus, I cannot be rude. I stand for my conscience. The intellectual class of Sierra Leone for own up to a lot of responsibilities for what they go wrong in that country. We will go school, we go university, we think say we're educated. A lot of things where they go wrong, now we they start them. Now we they institute them. Now they make people and look them as a norm. The war in Sierra Leone was not an accident. Just like the pathway they go so, which may lead us to a more bloodier war, is not an accident. It's a willful design. It's a willful design by a minority we feel say now they get the right for they at the top of things in Sierra Leone. If not them, then everything should go berserk. And I think it's time we begin to say that clearly. That Sierra Leone belongs to 7 million people, and then 7 million people they all been get papa. Not to one man in papa die left Salongiam. I don't want for water this thing down into ethnic divides because I don't believe in ethnicity. I believe say we get people in Sierra Leone where then they talk different languages. But if we do a DNA test, we go see say all these people speaking these different languages have a commonality of DNA linking us back to the Mali Empire. We are all descendants of the Mali Empire. No care whether you pass now the north for enter Salon, you pass now the south for enter Salon, you pass now the east for enter Sierra Leone. We are all descendants of the Mali Empire. That's why we have a common culture, Then we get common surnames. You have people who are Kamara, Kuruma, Sise, Tarawali, Fofana across linguistic lines. So I don't see any reason for make this ethnicity, this political hate, and all these things where they preach now. These were some of the factors that were willfully used by a minority in the intellectual class for take we country to the last civil war. The last civil war was not an accident. Some of us don't want to create another. I don't want to be a party to creating another crisis, but I know there are things I know. They wanted to recruit me. I refused. I refused to join the RUF. Somebody came to my house. By then I was a teacher. Tell me, say, then get scholarship for go Libya. I say, fuck off na meos. I don't mix for nonsense. After the war, then come with stage managed things. Then take certain people, then put them at the limelight, they use them as scapegoat. The real war actors are still alive and they are still in Sierra Leone. If they don't behave themselves, we'll begin to call their names. Enough is enough. Sierra Leone deserves better. I will end it for there now, sir.
Well, Mr. Jalo Jambore, okay, we don't get with Prince is back on the screen. Okay.
Yeah, no, sister, you can take it from there. I get a few questions,
Yeah.
of course, for pose, but
Yes.
what a thesis, and this is why
Yes.
we bring Mr. Jamboya into
Yeah.
the picture. Um,
Yes.
um, you couldn't have said it any better. So you just take it back. The war, not by accident. It was a design. And he
Yes.
was one of the people and where they attend for recruit. And they attend for recruit a lot of people, especially the intellectual class. If you're an intellect at the time, they try for bring you in for legit the cause. But there was an agenda. But Janet, let's hear your perspective on this war, probably prior then and now.
Well, I'm just want to go straight back to it. Mr. Jalo Jamborea say, it wasn't an accident; it was pure design, and also the most painful aspect of it all are perpetrators, those who were at the helm of this arrangement, are still alive and walking the streets, whereas the people that we not been participate, we not get no hands in this setup, end up for die. And to me, that contrast, the can bring the pain come for me, you know
Exactly.
as innocent as they
Exactly.
were, they didn't have to do anything to die like that. I mean, when you look at the Cry Freedom tape, that stuff has never left my mind. The Cry Freedom by Surya Samura, it brought us closer to the war, even though we were not there. But everybody in Sierra Leone, to those who are watching this program, we know say for every door in Sierra Leone, we know say one person they we been touched by that war day.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Prince, really speaking, I was away from home. I was here in England when this war did take place in Sierra Leone. And we only there a year after. But when we see Cry Free Town, that Cry Free Town, it all left my mind till today. That is the reason why I began to look in. When I was when I'm in England in the last how many years, I really wasn't interested in my country at all. For me, I was just saying to myself, I don't come a new place. I'm building a life for myself and my children. Home will be home. I will go home whenever I want. But the moment where I see Cry Free Town, that changed my perspective totally. Even it brought about. You look at innocent lives lost, and I watched one particular site on the Cry Free Town where it really hit me. My children were a little, they may all like a 9 or 10. And I remember my daughter asking, I said, what sin did they commit, mommy? Why are they killing them? What crime did they commit? I couldn't answer because there was no crime. They didn't commit any crime. And up to today, she's 35 years old now. He still they ask me, what really went wrong? How did it get so bad? And Prince, as we ask ourselves every day, when you go to the TRC recommendations and the findings, first of all, when the findings that talk about greed is at the center of this nonsense brutal war. The very thin way Mr. Jallo Jambua they talk about, so those things. I don't know whether you want me to read this, because I mean, not like it's in a mere words. We talk about, say, the commission. It said the commission found that the conflict represented an extraordinary failure of leadership, and that is one area. And then it talks about other things. I don't know, so I don't left the page now. I'm just emotional at this time. It said it said yes. It said the commission found that the central cause of the war was endemic greed, corruption, and nepotism that deprived the nation of its dignity and bear with me, reduced most people into a state of poverty. I mean, what is happening today is a replica. It's like it's a mirror. We're just looking at ourselves again in what happened that brought the war in 1991. So this is the
Okay.
reason why when Mr. Jallo Jambrea they go through this, you could just imagine he has seen he don't leave him, he don't did it, he see. We
I
could
was
just see.
there up to the
Yes,
2nd of June 1998.
yes,
Okay.
yeah, Prince,
Okay,
yeah.
Sister Janet, many thanks for that. And we will come to that particular side of the story. We want take time bring the story to Fambulem. Back to you, Mr. Jallo. I mean, of course, you've given us a background to this, but I be one for let we develop even a little bit more and also take some extract them from what Sister Janet say. I just want to say this because you're very vast in historical context, sir. Can we excuse waiting happened prior to independence? Because prior to independence is well documented, something where I believe so you're very familiar with, the colony and the protectorate. Instead of constructing, and this is from a document I'm reading, instead of constructing a unified Sierra Leonean state, the colonial government effectively created two nations in the same land. In other words, what
Exactly.
this means, sir, is two nations in the same land was the seed for discontent being sowed at the time for benefit, whatever political aim the colonizers had. The colonial capital, Freetown, which was known as the colony, and a much larger area of the provincial territory, which they called the protectorate. I know say me daddy lecture me a little bit about this, almost a South African kind of style. You get forget pass for Comot Upline, for Cam na the colony, which then was the capital city of Freetown. So the colonial government then formalized the common law practice in the colony, yet they neglect the development of all we local law then where they meet prior to them coming. So I go want to let you touch on that, Jalo, and probably we'll get an understanding as to Usai waiting with the suffer as a consequence of today. Not only begin today, which I believe say there's a consensus on that between the three of us, but for the benefit of a lot of people, because remember, see, we population is quite young. Not everybody has had the chance, to have access to the material they will they read or for let them know. So we owe them this kind of justice. So can we hear from you, sir, on this colonial
Yes, yes, yes.
fragmentation?
We get all the facts about what's wrong in a salon. But I think what we they miss now the links and the connections. And the links and connections for correct what's wrong. Now the ethical and moral duty of the intellectual class. That's why I started by blaming us and not exclude myself. Now we get the moral duty for teach the young generation what's wrong and tell them say we will not do this thing again like how we don't do them. But as they see right now in this present regime, people who ought to know better, now then they go and preach hate. Now then they preach divide. But that's an aside. As you rightly say, we problem started during the colonial times. And now one of the reasons that, in fact, will lead we to this rebel war. There is a whole book written on that. If I had prior notice, I've been forget the link or be for share and let people then see. There is a book written by a Zimbabwean who been they do a master's thesis on colonial divide and rule policies and how it aid on the development in Africa. He came to Sierra Leone and did his research. I was fortunate to have met him. By then, I was a teacher at the Prince of Wales School. We discussed our system in certain things. He published in thesis later as a book. A title, I go read the title, let people then go find them and read them. Colonialism, Class Formation and Underdevelopment in Sierra Leone. When you read that book, you see exactly how the two-state policy, what the British created a three-faction division in Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone has a three-faction division. And this is the underlying problem we have that most people don't know. Before 1924, the British may administer Sierra Leone as a colony and a protectorate, and they spent all the resources and time developing the human resource in the colonies. Okay? Then they came up with the idea of trading with the protectorate, then build a shaggy something where they call railway for the transport the goods to Freetown.
For loot and mass.
Yes. They never built any sustainable infrastructure in the protectorate until 1906, where then go now Binti first the colonial governor he go talk to the chief we been there. They had an agreement for make them open a school. Then they came in 1906 in Koyema, close to Bo. They can open a school and say for the sons and wards of chiefs. They didn't even consider women at that time. But by then, the UMC mission, which was before then called EUB, had established themselves in Bont district. They been established in Moyamba and Tonkolili. They had started education. They been open schools for men and boys and girls. Now then Gates Afford, now they open Albert Academy, now they open Centennial Secondary School, now Matugujok. Okay? So by the time the British went to open their school at Koema for the sons and wards of chiefs, there had been other Sierra Leoneans, not necessarily from ruling houses that have had access to education. Okay? So when the products of both schools then begin operate, in 1924, imagine 1906 would have opened school. Then 1924, almost year, not to 18 year.
Yeah.
When I say, let we can begin teach you now for practice the kind politics where they practice. Then go open a protectorate assembly. And the constitution that they used to open that assembly been limit participation in the assembly mostly to people from ruling houses. This was where a two-class system started.
Yeah.
Those from ruling houses who felt they had the authority of that God called the British to be in politics, and those from non-ruling houses who wanted to participate because they believe it was their democratic right. Then you had a minority in the Western area who had been exposed and developed in Westminster politics and administration for over a century. This is what created the crisis in Sierra Leone that we are still grappling with. If you read SLPP, it was created mainly for chiefs, children of chiefs. But because at that time, people are not be one for take this thing and say, oh, I know we all come together. The Connors came with their own movement. The chiefs then come with their own movement. Then you been get a radical group who have been educated people from the provinces. They all can join and say, "Love from SLPP." Then this crisis of ruling versus non-ruling house came into the party. By 1958, that led to a breakdown in the ideology and the structure of the party. And that was what saw people like Shaka Stevens and others leaving the SLPP, because Shaka Stevens had been with the SLPP. As a matter of fact, after the 1955 elections, where them be old for me, then begin practice the politics, then get an internal government where then say Pamiltina chief minister, Shaka Stevens was made the first minister of lands, mines, and labor. When this discontent and internal fighting between the ruling and non-ruling houses started, those from non-ruling houses left the SLPP. One of them, who was also from a ruling house but radical, Albert Magai, by then a young lawyer, also left the SLPP. But he later returned. Shaka Stevens did not. The other people from the non-ruling houses did not. They came together with other people who were basically Madingos and Northerners. I am being specific now, not because I want to be tribalist. Okay? I want to let people to understand the root of the APC.
Yeah.
The APC was not formed by Shaka Stevens. It was not formed by Northerners. It was formed by Madingos and some Northerners who felt they also had a right to participate in democratic procedures. Shaka Stevens was only put in front as the leader because they're not saying get the political experience, both as a politician and as a former trade unionist. Okay?
Okay. Thank you so
Now
much
I just make the point.
Okay.
So when we went for independence talks in London, Shaka Stevens, seeing this crisis, wanted a way to say, let us solve it by a democratic means. Let's get elections before independence. That was one of his first mistake we make. Where from there, then Freeman say na instigate strike where railway workers then do na freeton. Shaka Stevens was arrested in London, taken to court and deported to Sierra Leone. And since then, that grudge don't lay dumb. And there are people in Sierra Leone who know this. There are people older than me who know this, who should be educating people that we don't do this mistake. Now we left this thing now. Let bygones be bygones. But these are some of the people in the background still instigating trouble. Whatever Madabio is doing today, it's a continuation of what was started by Albert Magai. I'll end it for there, sir, for now.
Many thanks for that, sir. Before I go to Sister Janet, let we see whether we're able to watch one quick clip for backup waiting the historian, Mr. Boy Jalo
Mena
Jamboya.
geographer, sir. Just the land history out of national love.
Thank you
But I
so
thought
much,
you do
sir.
history back up now for a big college back
No,
in the
sir,
days.
no,
and
sir.
very
Na
fast.
geography I do na jala. Me na geographer and me na trained teacher.
All right,
Thank you
no
so,
worries at all.
thank you so
Maybe-
much for the historical background. It really
Yeah.
educates me tonight. I'm
Yeah,
not for clean
absolutely.
so.
Absolutely. And this is a learning curve, like I can
It is
always say.
indeed. It
But
is indeed.
let we see
Thank
whether
you.
we able for watch one or two videos on this business here quickly and see exactly what in Mr. Jallo is saying. Just bear with me. We need for play this video here. Her fumble and see him. Okay. Okay. There seems to be a problem. There seems to be a problem there. But notwithstanding, Sister Janet, we get many things then for cover tonight. So waiting I want for do at this point now for go straight into the war itself because we don't develop waiting lead to the war. And we understand saying that the breakdown of the society, largely the responsibility of government, but not in only in the now, but it go back. So there was a video recently by President Marabio where obviously we all are critical of the president, but that in the way is a one short clip where the country been all divided. He's not a good orator. So he finds it difficult for breakdancing in the dome because this is exactly what he been trying for say that the country had been divided in many different ways by the colonial powers up to the point to start with the like waiting Mr. Jamboria just outlined to us. But once again, I really want to share this video, but it seems for the get problem. But let we go to a Washington Post let we go to a Washington Post sort of waiting and get some pictorial evidence, some gallery. Let we see whether we able for play waiting and get it about victims who can always draw tears in my eyes. Yeah. And I sure say we see this now. Are we? I sure say we see this now. Not sure. Do you want to bear with me? These things are very, very important that they be done. That they be done because we need for create this picture now the minds of with people so that they understand exactly where we are. Okay. Let me see if I can add this to the stream. No, that's not happening. So let's remove that. Let's come to the Washington Post. Let's do some stop screen share. Let's go to share. Fambulem, whilst we try for bring this pictorial evidence to Una, this now the TNN media empire. And when we talk now, we talk with evidence, do split hair analysis backed by physical, circumstantial evidence. And this is what we are trying to do. We try for show the hellhole which we people and suffer for quite a while. And are we seeing this by any chance? No,
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
seem
me
to
they
be
see am.
playing. You the see
Well,
answer?
now video or now just a picture?
Oh no, no, picture clip. I've done the test many
I
times.
they
We
Yes.
see
see
this.
am, I they see
Yeah,
am,
we
I
just
they
here
see
now. Yeah.
Okay, well then that's good. That's good. That's good. So my backup screen they work. So that's why I'm kind of I'm struggling. That's why I'm kind of struggling. So let's see whether we can run this pictorial evidence on this na the Rebel and Camp then. This is the Rebel and Camp. Um StreamYard Washington Post. Okay. Right. So Fambulem, I mean, these are just some of the pictures. Really, really pathetic pictures. Every time I see these pictures, and I love for watch them, bring tears to my eyes. Some of them were boys, some of them were as little as 10, 9, 8, and there are records of some people and maybe even younger toddlers. Remember that iconic picture where the late President Kaba take with this little grown-up girl now, Memuna to, I believe, Mansari.
Mansare.
Yes, very iconic picture of the president, and that, yes, sort of showcase the brutality of the war because it go viral. She was taken to the White House. He meet President Clinton. He meet Madeleine Albright, the U.S. Secretary of State then. Meet President Clinton and wife Hillary. And then pictures, then they go all over the world. And that even help for attract attention to we conflict in Sierra Leone then. Sister Janet,
Yes.
obviously, then we fought the war.
Mhm.
And we see the consequence where we suffer as a consequence of the war we fought, the suffering on a
Mhm.
mass scale,
Mhm.
rape, pillaging, looting, we ongoing at the country. But yet somehow we manage for find some kind of a peace. To many people, them way some been on tire, their intentions were not good. Mr. Jamboria talked earlier. Some of the players, them, they still they waka around scot free. I mean, will you consider this as justice? And going back to the TRC, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, some recommendation where they make. Do you think that any of these recommendations, not even any that's too broad, but within they ask for the basic minimum, has it been met, my dear sister? Has justice for the one that we suffer, both the one that we don't depart this world as a consequence of this brutal war, and the one that
Well,
we suffer, we take today they go with the scars of wars on them, yet the people that we perpetuate this brutality on them, they are walking, then they pass by each other. Do you think the commission, the TRC, don't fulfill the ambition there in terms of the recommendation?
well, just reading through the TRC itself, and you find out, say, when you look now at this not the write up we they read now, and when you look at what's in the happen at Sierra Leone, you will know that the TRC recommendations, the findings and recommendations have been neglected uh, in a way that when Mr. Jalo Jamboria say it is war is foreseeable if you put an away. That is to say, the recommendations have never been um, taken seriously. The recommendations have failed, or the government has failed to take the recommendations into any implementer into practice. They don't neglect that thing. They don't forget about them, and they've gone back to the findings. Usai the TRC they complain, they talk say, what's in the findings? Those are the major lack of leadership. We failure of leadership. We have that now, failure of leadership, and then we get most of the central cause of that war day. So it's a, I mean, one on one prolong them. I just want to say the recommendations have never been taken seriously. And as Mr. Jalo Jambore say, if we're going strictly by within those findings where they are alive and kicking as we speak, and those findings, if the one that within at the helm of power, they now sit up straight and look back. This is a reflection time, and look back and say some of this then thing as to poverty. They don't broke the society into poverty. So a hungry man is an angry man. If you look at that picture there properly, this salon can break into things that we when they look at what we know for even we don't want consider this, but it is foreseeable. I see say you put the chapter there up, and if you go through all waiting the TRC recommend, none they're not put into when you go find out say the president Kabab not to Kabab, President Kabab been try, for look at youths, to look at children, I mean children, to look at women and try for empower them, try for create equality across the spectrum. But it appears after Bakaba in era, everything went downhill. I think that's what is happening, and this is a failure, in leadership from Pakaba in stage into after Pakaba in time to now. A lot of stuff in the society don't broke down. Period. basic services that people are not enjoy. So you will see a catalog of events we don't pile up. Where if we not try for talk about it now and try for curb them, we're gonna end up where we were 1991. We not wish that for God's sake. Make nobody not take this program out of context. We are just highlighting the failures. That's what we are saying. And we are asking this government to take those findings into and the recommendations seriously and implement them for prevent that which happened in the past. We don't want to call ourselves man or lie you.
Yeah. Um, um, Mr. Jallo,
Yes, sir.
um, the recommendations were made by the Truth and Reconciliation Committee. We also
Yes.
went and borrowed, but I believe out of good faith, the Rainbow Coalition or whatever, then in South Africa,
Mm-hmm.
which we try for can implement
Mm-hmm.
within a different sort of structure, even though it be amount to
Yes.
the same gruesome sort of things then we follow as a consequence of a
Mm-hmm.
breakdown na the society. Same question to you, but with a caveat around them. The current president of the country was part and parcel of this process. Are you disappointed? How you see the recommendations? Is it been implemented? Has it been implemented? And how you see the role of this current president will then be part and parcel of this entire process to a point where you don't come out and tell we, yeah, a few things like a giveaway, like coded messages and those kind green have been where Khalifa Smart was deprived of the presidency then. And here we are, 20 some more years on. And it seems
Mm-hmm.
like, according to you again, kind of sleepwalking into something where we feel say we don't put now we back. How you
Worse
see
than
all
that.
of this, sir?
Worse than that. Worse than that.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
the RAF war was not ethnocentric.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we get for begin face the facts, na Sierra Leone. We get for face with fears. What's in the be so now? We not dey pray let go to the stage of war, but if it does, Rwanda was a joke. I want Sierra Leoneans to be aware of that. Because in 1994, when Rwanda had genocide, technology had not developed to the level where it developed so.
Mm-hmm.
We dey see what's in the go on at Ukraine now. We dey see the input of technology into it. So we need for say the truth and let we curb this thing. Let her go to the truth and reconciliation. Janet mentioned two things where I want for deal with. You see, we are always saying we lack leadership. Yes, we lack leadership. You know why we lack leadership in our salon? Now, because we were forbidden leaders. Leadership not to one person. That's one thing we need to get clear in Sierra Leone. Leadership is a class of people who understand what should be understood and who are ready to own up to their moral and ethical obligations.
Yes.
Countries progress when that class does what I'm saying. We have seen countries without minerals like South Korea become global economies and industrial and technological powers. It's because the intellectual class came up with the leadership where the nation need. They not wait for one person for go sit down at State House. Then they all begin play sycophant behind them. Or they not take one person where they know say this na idiot, then put on a State House. Then they behind they play the game how they want them. I am sorry if I'm going to be rude today. But at this stage in my life, I owe Sierra Leone a conscience, not a political party. I may be member of a political party. Okay? But Sierra Leone is above every political party.
Absolutely.
And we
That's a
therefore
fact.
begin put us straight to WISEF. The idiots in Sierra Leone feel say they able manipulate that country. Let them begin behave themselves. Madabio was party to what happened, but it was not Madabio's making. It was used and promised presidency. And they made sure he became president. Okay? That's why Madabio cannot function as a president. It was used by certain people and promised presidency.
Mr. Jallo, without cutting you off, this is not something I want for understand, and probably the general public might be interested in that as well, because it's quite a statement you're making there. Some of us have heard the statement, but we can look for bearings around the statement. So if this is true, what you are saying, what you say, sir, then the president-elect then, the late Ahmad Tijan Kaba, did say publicly that this current president should never be allowed near the presidency. How does it, I mean, explain to we whose sense we make, because if you be
Ahmad
acting on
Tijan
behalf
Kaba
of somebody,
never wanted him near that. But in his second term, he fell out with the party he led. That was why, in fact, he moved his office from the State House to his home, because he had no confidence in any of them. Secondly, some of the problems we emanate from the war after the TRC, they could not have addressed them because the people who caused the war were the ones in power. They only had Ahmad Tijan Kaba in front. Like now they have Madabio in front. Billions of dollars were pumped into Sierra Leone for rehabilitation and other things.
yeah,
Those money should have been used wisely to address the priority issues on the TRC. As a matter of fact, even the constitution of the TRC itself was not efficient. I'll tell you one thing. Somebody from the TRC went to Conakry, Guinea. By then I was there as a refugee. The United Nations office called me, because by then I was the chairman of the refugees in Conakry. That somebody had come from Sierra Leone to talk to us, this and that, that and that. We made an appointment with him to meet at a place called Matam on a Saturday. That guy never went there when he saw me. He had cold feet. So the TRC itself was not effective in its human resource constitution. The points that came out of the TRC, which should have been addressed, could not be addressed because the people handling the management of rehabilitation and reconstruction diverted these funds to other uses. Part of the rape problem we'll get in Salon now because no post-war trauma was done. All the small boys who have been shown, like now I've been shown for that picture just now, in the 1990s, they are the young adults now. They are highly traumatized madmen walking the streets of Freetown. So they can do anything. You see, the whole thing, if we put them in perspective, is that the group of people who caused the war in Sierra Leone took power. They sent Fode Sanko into the bush. When they realized Fode Sanko was not going to give them power, they went into the army and instigated certain boys to come and make a coup. Then they surrounded the boys in the NPRC with a few intellectuals, then formed the National Advisory Council, which transformed itself into SLPP in 1996. They instigated the overthrow of Valentine Strasser because they knew if Strasser was head of state, they would not have won that election. Then they lied to the public, say Strasser formed party. But Strasser never go to a party meeting. I am saying this with utmost authority because I worked for the NPRC and the public relations office.
This president lied then, without
all of them. That's why lie is now a national hobby in Sierra Leone.
All right. I think we will get. Yeah, I mean,
I
this
mean,
is
don't
an
take that they
encyclopedia.
say,
This is an
I not one
encyclopedia,
for
a
talk,
treasure
because
trove.
I know let people
Yes.
misunderstand me, Lord, go to another crisis.
Yes.
But we don't
Yeah,
reach two sides
I
of
get
who
you,
for
Mr.
raise your
Jamboria, and this
voice.
now are just about for say that with this kind of knowledge where they fuse out so to the general public, we need an entire program
Yeah.
for where you just come and just your lecture, give we all this historical background. We go make like we understand
Yes.
where we were, who side we did, and who side with
Mm-hmm.
the head, and why we need for do an about face turn. I mean, very very critical. Anyway, Fambulem, just
Now
for
just
reminder.
continue. So I've not been done what I want to say. On the
Okay, carry on,
TRC.
carry on.
The TRC could not be implemented as it is for its value because of this same class internal friction within Sierra Leone. I'll tell you for free, the APC is not interested in implementing the TRC. You know why?
No.
They don't think it's their responsibility. They know the people who are responsible are there, which is also a fault on the part of the APC. And Escoma, when he took power, he came up with the Attitude and Behavior Committee. If he was surrounded by wise people, some of us spoke, but they never listened. We needed, and we still need, an Attitude and Behavior Commission, not committee. More than we need an anti-corruption commission. Because corruption in Sierra Leone is a political instrument.
What's the difference between a committee and a commission for the benefit of the public?
A committee is just a body of people without legal status. The commission now would have had a parliamentary ratification that you should exist. And it would have been staffed with people who are experts in our culture, in our history, in sociology and things like that. For make we sit down, we address with problems. What in do Kamara when they talk Mende, for look Kamara when they talk Timini as the enemy. What in do Mawe born a bond, we go power society. For look Mawe born a bombali, we go power society as the enemy. Don't we see the commonalities we have in Sierra Leone? That we are one and the same people, but because a few idiots, where they call themselves intellectuals, want to manipulate the country, let them continue for their dominance. That's why the TRC has not been implemented, and it will be difficult to implement.
Yeah, but you can't just apportion the blame to them because long before they came, I suppose you're talking about the current crop of we leader them. Long before
Not
they
to
come, the
current, I
TRC
mean
exist.
the generation from 1960 to 1980, me generation. Now we mislead Salon.
Okay.
We for take the responsibility and try begin make amends.
That's very true. Take the responsibility and begin for make amends. Sister Janet, take the responsibility and
Yes,
begin for
sir.
make amends. How do we go about it if we not get political leadership through itself and its every form to the people, responsible to the people? But like Mr. Jamboria say again, all the leadership they do now for cushioning themselves, now for insulate themselves in power and tell the people something else and not they do what they're supposed to do. Is this reminiscent of the 1980s? And again, the 1970s, 1980s, waiting lead us into the civil war in the first place?
The answer is straightforward, yes. But I want to chip in. I want borrow from Mr. Ajalo Jamboria about commission. You know, the reason why this TRC recommendation not be implemented, like Mr. Ajalo Jamboria say, because we don't have a commission where we get powers from Parliament. Because when it's a commission, so I think at the end that there was a failure there. Instead of setting up a committee, they should have created a commission where for they around today. So what Mr. Jalo Jambura is saying, it could be that commission there, it could be their duty and responsibility for make sure say these recommendations are implemented. They failed because no authority no day. Yes.
Now pause you there for a bit,
Yes.
and pardon me for breaking
Yes.
your thought flow. But
Yes.
during
Yes,
the
sir. Yes,
formation
sir.
of this committee, it wasn't only
Yes.
domestic. There were international
Mm-hmm.
advisors, consultants, and etc. Are we saying that they
Yes.
all failed? Of course,
Yes.
we get the benefit of hindsight, or the intentions were just different.
No, but you ask
Which
you. Let me just ask you the question: are they still around? It was a
The
moment when they were
implementation
set
is
up.
what we
Then
are
again, no
talking
office
about,
at this time.
Prince.
Yes, the implementation left to we the people
It
of
left
Sierra
we,
Leone,
not
and
only
if they are set up a
international
commission,
community for Dua.
yes, that's what international community. So the commission, what the commissioner would have done, the commission would have done was then go get a place in Sierra Leone for make sure say them TRC where the TRC put together that they are, because if you go to South Africa, you find out say then get a commission there. The commission still exists.
Yes.
You see, this is
and
the difference we have in Sierra Leone.
Then they pan
Yes, they get the commission. Yes,
so,
they get the
Janet, I go
commission.
there. I
Well,
go therefore
yes,
ask you. I would therefore ask you,
yes,
based on which you don't say, which is
yes, sir.
backed by Mr. Jamboria Jallo, was there any
Yes.
political will for carry out waiting them in put na pen and paper? Was there any political will? I mean, or it was
Well,
just this is let's just get on with it, yeah, get over this chapter and move on,
if you say,
which see us
if you
exactly
ask
where
me,
we did.
yes, yes, yes. Okay. Look what Mr. Jallo Jambera say, Pakaba in period where they ruled Sierra Leone, he had because Pakaba was a lawyer, he understood the mandate behind this book here, the TRC report. He knew, those people have worked so hard for getting findings, recommendations to be able to heal the country. So in expanding, I want to use very simple words because I want for possible way they listen, not forget a double understanding. In putting out services and whatever you call them for let every Sierra Leonean benefit. So you not feel aggrieved. You not feel say, oh, there's certain people here, a certain group, then they get job. There are other people here, they minimize them, then dehumanize them, then derail them, then dehumanize them. So Pakaba was very strategic in doing that in Rule, but he failed because Mr. Jello Jambra don't answer the question. The very people where creates the war, we are still alive, kicking and having their way. You see,
and
so
they
everything
put
from
Sijan
the
Kaba in
yes,
front to use him.
yes, to use him. So the
When
TRC
he come
had to
for no
fail.
say
Is
na
it from
put him
Pakaba now?
before for use him, he had
Yes.
cold feet and he withdrew from them
Yes.
in his second term.
Yes.
So, Sister Janet, thank you for that. Let me just take this quickly
Yes.
to Mr. In fact, let me stay with you, Sister Janet. So
Yes.
I like the way you put them bluntly. You recognize
Yes.
Pakaba in profession. Say he applied at some point,
Yes.
but in the end he failed. Because of
Yes.
course it was always going to be
Yes. Because
difficult to manage your profession. Will be very relevant at the
yes.
time as a lawyer, but
Mhm.
you also get a political
Yes.
factor. So how do you walk this fine
Yes.
line then? But what I want to bring come to you
Line.
is Mr. Jamboria Jallo talk about
Yes.
and you endorse that people and we cause the
Yes.
mayhem. Traditionally within rebel
They were
them,
there.
they still
And
the work as
they
country.
control
And
Pakaba
threatening
in
you here for
activities.
say that next time we
Yes.
go call name. I want to bring a particular name, and this is a high profile name. And that is that of Dr. Ali Kaba. I mean,
Yes.
Dr. Ali Kaba don't divide opinion. You get people that we believe say he not to be rebel. Even though
Yes.
a man where the whole responsible for Sierra Leone war, we come on a foreign country or foreign leader, and they
Yes.
talk about Charles
Yes.
Taylor. We
Mhm.
currently the staff sentence now a maximum security jail in the UK a day. Don't
Yes.
call Ali Kaba a name many times. Say this man, this other man who they talk about, I don't even know him. The real man who I know him
Yes.
is he don't talk. He's Dr.
Mhm.
Kaba. But Dr. Kaba managed for
Yes.
escape, here from
Mhm.
that kind of accusation there to a point where people and believe say he was never a part of
Yes.
IUF. I wonder what your thoughts are.
Yes. Well, I believe in fairness and haven't spoken to Ali Kaba himself, one-to-one. Ali Kaba's idea of a revolution was, for me, largely theoretical than practical, in the sense that nobody look for war. Not a war Amy want. He just wanted to make sure that the government will be there in power, no say their equality, not in that is people are not being, well, people are not treated equally, or the society was broken, and there was a division. I think that was what he was trying to put across. In his own words, he did say when he realized that ideas not match with him, they happen at the country at the time, he said he removed himself. And this, for
When
God,
you
I'm not
say
gonna lie you.
If
he
I can
removed
come in,
himself.
sir.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, I
Yes,
they
yes,
come
sir.
to you,
Yes,
Brother
sir.
Jallo. I they come
Yes.
to you.
Now,
I
I
want you
just
hold,
come with this
Brother
Ali
Jallo.
Kaba
I
issue.
want
Let
you hold
clear
first.
him. I want
Brother
to clear
Jallo,
Ali
Brother
Kaba
Jallo,
issue because I know him.
Brother Jallo, hold your
Yes,
thoughts
Yes.
sir.
right there.
Okay.
I
Yes,
understand. I
yes,
understand
yes,
exactly where coming to you. When you say he removed himself
yes,
and you listen to him,
yes,
do you believe him?
yes.
And he removed
Well,
himself from
when he
what?
said, well, from the whole arrangement, because that was not the idea he had in mind, and that's how he ended
What
up in
arrangement are
Libya.
you saying? Are you implying that at some point he was an affiliate? Because you already don't make the case. He been disgruntled as a matter of fact because things not been a go way for the people.
Yes,
Them is a people's man,
yes,
so therefore they get to look
yes,
for a way or solution.
yes,
So
but not
was he an
yes.
associate or at some point he affiliated himself with the RAF? But then when he say things not been a go the way I see him, so he pull out. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I think I have to be careful with the use of words.
Yep,
For me, it
absolutely.
will
You're a
be
lawyer.
like well, it will be at the inception of your thoughts. So, well, me, Prince, and Mr. Jalo Jamboria, now this one for do, we collaborate for do something, and then if one person is a ring do something different to what you would expect, then there is no arrangement. That arrangement fails if you come
So,
to think of it.
Sister Janet,
Yes, yes,
for once,
yes.
I see you the
Hmm.
dither. And probably I got this wrong, but for once, honestly, I see you
Yeah,
the dither, and you're being very careful. I think say you don't wear your
yes.
lawyer cap and your lawyer gown at this point. But arrangement, the last question to you before I move
Yes.
on to Brother Jamboya. Arrangement with whom?
You know what? You know what I'm trying to
We
say.
need
I'm
discuss
just
that you were
repeating what
painful,
somebody
but you
tell
get
me.
for laugh.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
I understand,
Let
Mr.
me
Jalo
take
Jamboria. I
take the
understand.
steam. Let I take the steam iron away
Yes.
from you. But at Jambo here, I see you very unsettled on the chair, looking at your body language, and I believe that you disagree with your sister. I wonder whether I'm correct.
Well, I was just speaking from
Um,
what I was told.
legally,
Yes. Mm.
Ali Kaba was an accomplice to the war.
Strong word.
Yes, he was. Some of us at some point thought it was good to be opposed to the APC because a lot of things were going wrong. 1977 student strike, some of us were very active in it. But later, out of youthful exuberance, we get involved in their radicalism later we sat back and thought, oh, we were played by a group of people. Ali Kaba was played like all of us. But he took it to the next stage of using a connection he had with Muammar Gaddafi in Libya for recruit people them take go Benghazi, now a place where they call Camp Mataba, where Charles Taylor been talk about. I tell you in the beginning of this program, say somebody go na mi host na Keturelen. By then I was a teacher at Kankele. Say then get scholarship for go Libya. I tell her let fuck off na mi host. That was the exact word I used.
We want to see your face where you talk. I don't know you want to hide your face. You
I
need
know
for
they
clap.
hide
You
me
need to look
face
now
na
you right.
the
Okay,
way
that's
where
better, sir.
the
That's it.
okay,
That's it.
let me turn them this way. I did that because by then I had got wind that people were recruiting people to go to Libya to train for a military venture. Ali Kaba started that thing. But when they went to Benghazi, he had cold feet and he ran away. And not only one, then Boku we run away commodity. So for say he trained to go and fight in Sierra Leone, he never did. But the process itself was developed using him. Whether he knew or he didn't know, I cannot attest to that.
Yeah, but Mr.
But
Jamboya,
I know at some point,
Mr. Jamboya, look at this point. Look at this point, sir, because it seems like, I don't know, everybody's been really very careful. Being a rebel not necessarily means that you get for take gun and shoot. This is an
yes,
entire
Baku
institution.
they will never fire a bullet.
Yeah, but exactly, and they were rebels. They were rebels.
They were rebels.
The people away shoot, then take orders from somebody else. So these were all rebels. So if Charles Taylor mentioned Ali Kaba, this is what I find.
He was the leader of the whole thing because he was the one who had direct connection with the Libyan authorities.
Yeah, but yes, sir, and that's quite correct. And was always at the Bantaba. You will know what the Bantaba means. That's where they met.
Mataba. That's what they call the place. Mataba, Camp Mataba.
Mataba, yeah.
It was in some place outside in the desert close to Benghazi.
Yeah. So I mean, away from Dr. Kaba, there are also other names. The Mike Lamines, you know, and few other people. Like you say, you do have names, and you threaten at the beginning of this program that if they not begin for
the people with the greatest responsibility, the people with the greatest responsibility for instigate all these things were by then people in the APC government who were even ministers in that government.
You know, instigate waiting, sir.
This all crisis will lead to the RUF war.
So hang on,
the crisis was done. Just listen. Just listen. I want to let you listen.
No, Mr. Jallo, hang on. I'll ask you questions. You still get more time for explain because I want for let we line of thought. You know, yeah, at least train so that we people understand because that's something else you've just said. And I want myself one for understand. Sometimes it's a learning curve for me, even though I'm asking the questions. So let me get this straight. Because it's always been an argument na the national platform, sometimes international platform. So the All People's Congress was in power. Of course, you will get people that will not get interest in Uda Binde in power and might likely collaborate. But the idea that the All People's Congress Binde in power, which means that there were other people outside of the All People's Congress where not been want them in power, and it been work well because the All People's Congress wasn't doing well at all. Before
they were doing well. Yes, they were doing well.
The country was a failed state. And then
Joseph It was not at the time the war was planned. That's what I want you to get clear.
No, but you're saying that the APC is responsible.
Just listen, you'll get it clear. I'm doing
Mr. Jamboya.
I'm doing a time. It was not the time of Momo that the war was planned. Now the time of Chaka Stevens.
Mr. Jamboya, for let we get each other, we shouldn't be speaking over each other. And I don't tell you, say it's a learning curve for me. So I make me, me question to you. And I get, you response and you get a wider time for respond. So like I say, waiting and not understand. And a lot of people, and this, when we come up on this program today, we hope some things then will be put to rest. And this, I believe, saying are things that we don't hear a lot. The blame game. Oh, na APC na begin the war. Oh, na SLPP begin the war. Waiting and not
Okay. Prince, can I step in quickly? Yes. If you know, what Mr. Jallo Jambora is saying that this war happened, but it started from the Sheikh Steven era. The wrongs which Sheikh Steven don't do. Now it accumulates.
I think it's more of the wrongs, Jeanette.
Yes, okay, sir.
It's more a product of that fight we start 1924 between the ruling houses and non-ruling houses.
Yes.
When Sheikh Stevens took power in 1968, after he was brought back from Guinea.
Yes.
After the Brigadier Lansana coup.
Yes.
Sheikh Stevens formed the first government of national coalition. He brought in people from the SLPP and made them ministers. And throughout the history of Sheikh Stevens in regime, he had people who were SLPP who were ministers in the APC government. The one-party state where they make all this noise, but now 1978 they make one-party state. By then, I was in my final year at Jala University. They make a referendum, then vote that we campus for go vote. We voted against one-party state, but the Mawe then now be Secretary General of the SLPP, because you know say Jala students then vote against one-party state, he broke the box. I not go calling him. And some of we will be there when they talk, say if you cannot beat them, join them. At the time when I went to school, Sierra Leone was not a failed state. Up to the time when I left university, Sierra Leone was not a failed state. I graduated from Jala in 1979. I went to a college where we had 3 meals a day. We had 24/7 electricity all over Sierra Leone. There was rural water supply in every chiefdom. The tank they then tank owner, the Sinatama, Mile 91, etc.
Yeah, I grew up during the same time, sir.
Sierra
but
Leone
again,
was willfully made into a failed state by operatives in the
operatives,
APC.
what you mean? What you mean?
People who were not genuine APC, who wanted to see the collapse of the APC because they felt they had to be in power. And some of these people had every office under the APC regime and even acted as vice president. While they talked to them,
So if we understand you, there was a one-party state at that time, and other people who were not biologically APC, but when they served inside the government, they undermined the APC government.
They undermined the economy of Sierra Leone and led us to a crisis so that they could have justification for war.
Do we have proof?
I have proofs.
Okay.
I have proofs.
Okay. Many thanks for that. That's a towering claim there. I understand some of this, but not understand the rest of it.
You know, Prince, I want to chip in quickly. I was told a month ago, Mr. Jalo Jambrea go notice for say SI Kroma, the reason we to make Pashakino ever make SI Kroma president after when he left office, because SI Kroma was not of the temperament where he go allow him. He was a violent man, and not I don't know how to describe him. I don't know whether Mr. Jalo Jambora knows how they go. But Esekoma was one person where we ended up with this army man, President Kuruma and President Shaka Stephen Nabi trust him. Neither did he trust this other person, FM Mina, and all of that. No. We don't let say Kamara Taylor them. We're talking about Esai Kuruma and FM Mina. And also Mr. Jalo Jambrea, they were both vice presidents.
And FM were first and second vice president.
Yes. That's that area we talk about.
But by then, Esai Kuruma was a very sick man.
Forget about the man being sick. He was a very powerful man. Don't joke. Mr. Jalo Jambrea will know what me they explain so, because I get this from a person where say away from being sick. Like the Pashaki say, I can see person they from sick, but I not see person they from well. I don't know if you never hear that.
Not to say that you say in hiding. He said it publicly. I heard it.
Yes.
At that time.
Yes.
Okay. We understand that. And this now.
So the undermining when Mr. Jalo Jambrea talk about the undermining is coming from this era, from this time.
If Esai Kuruma was made president of Sierra Leone, he would have arrested all those people undermining the APC.
Oh yes, he would have.
So you see, these are the allegations. You know, maybe we go left and for arrest for another day.
And then people and they still they function as alone.
Siaka Stevens, Mr. Jamboria. Jamboria. So that means Siaka Stevens as the commander-in-chief and in lieutenant them, where he been get plenty of them. They not been the sea waiting Esai Kuruma been the sea.
Siaka Stevens saw it, but he had sympathy.
Aha. Okay.
You see, this is the mistake we make in Africa. Governance is not an issue of sympathy. It's an issue of empathy. Do what is right and do it rationally.
So let me
When
ask
you
you this
bring,
before I move to the next question on the
yes,
basis
sir.
of the same talk who the talk. So Siaka Stephen was much more in charge and been putting lieutenant them in place, including the former police chief.
Well, not only Lieutenant Chaka Stevens, let we face the fact. Chaka Stevens was a political limba.
I like the political limba because he
The
was
man was born at Moyamba
my man be
with
many
a
woman.
mother from Pujeong. So he had sympathy for some of the people sabotaging APC.
I mean, that sounds really kind of strange to me
It may
because that's
sound
undermining.
out of the way, but it's the fact about Sierra Leonean. Mother Biodon can confirm until we say Uda is Sabina they work with, not so.
But Siaka Stephen was doing the
Said
same.
that
Mr.
Chaka
Jamboria, Mr.
Stevens had
Jamboria, you know a
sympathy
lot,
for
Mr.
certain people
Jamboria, for
because
goodness sake.
he
You know a
had
lot.
that connection with them. So he said, okay, let us take them kill and let us see God. But these people had their motives.
So you're not saying that Siaka Stephen was a saint, are you?
He was not a saint. We have never had a saint in Sierra Leone.
Yeah, but then how could you tell me that people where they undermine in presidency, it be actually they embrace them and they exchange and they extend olive branch
I'll
to
give
them?
you an example.
Please do.
1977-78, after the elections, Alfred Akibo Betts was made Deputy Minister of Finance 1. He uncovered that massive looting was taking place in the public service, where they call voucher gate. He went to Shaka Stevens and reported this. Shaka Stevens gave him the free hand to investigate it. A few hours later, Shaka Stevens changed when some other people went around and spoke with him. Alfred Akibo Betts had to be dressed like a woman to run away from Sierra Leone for his life.
Yes, I'm very familiar with that. Yes.
Okay.
This confirms that Chaka Stevens had certain sympathies.
Mr. Jamboria, with all due respect, sir, their intrigue they happen inside politics. And Shaka Stephen is also on record for playing them up against each other. This is how he survived so long.
Well, most leaders do. Most leaders do, even in the developed world.
Oh yeah, absolutely, sir. We were younger, but we get political connections in there. We hear what happen. We daddy them in there, and we know what happen. One question to you because we seem for don't drift away, but before we come back again online, the former president, the late President Stevens, again, this is not something where I suppose say you go know. Bambe Kamara was an acolyte of his or an ally of his, correct, sir?
Well, he was the Inspector General of Police.
Yeah, and Shaka Stephen be one time day.
He be one time day because Bambe had certain role where he feel say he able to perform for her.
Okay. So, and again, on top of that, he put him inside parliament, violate all the codes and the pressure and things that we would see today. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen.
Sorry, now my phone they misbehave so.
And yes, sir. Janet, carry on. I just want to answer this call. Yes, sir.
Now my phone.
Okay. I may feel say you want to talk privately.
No, I know.
Yes, sir. So the point why they try for big sir is Saka Stevens, he helped for bring the country usai with this so today. I mean, up to the war. He bring the IG inside parliament, which he was not supposed to do at all by law. He bring Brigadier Momowe eventually succeed him inside parliament, the army, the institution of the army inside parliament. He wasn't supposed to do that. I mean, he could have been an old man and been a lose the plot, but certainly he been a look for protection towards in end days.
Yes.
Yeah, we can say so because not only then through them they been care go parliament too.
Oh yeah, now the two critical one, and that's true.
Even the Secretary General of the Teachers Union, my friend Emmanuel Fatoma, was a parliamentarian.
So, Mr. Jallo, the point that this guy for makes that is like,
May God rest his soul. You know, he
yeah,
passed away.
That
like
was his own style.
yeah, yes, sir. But if
And
it very
another
much
thing
day
say
is
it do
die,
am
but
with
like every
evil
other leader,
intention.
as you dey
Yes.
get old, you are missing some points, and you dey begin for see
Yes.
shadows where you don't know that for trust again.
Well,
So you
now I
dey
make
stop
Yes.
and
like
you get
me, I not
uncharged
get for go
around.
and politics, Prince.
Trust issues. Trust issues. Yeah.
All right, sir. Okay, so we move. I think
Okay,
it's
so
time to
but Prince, you know waiting,
no,
Mr. Jalo Jamboya they do so.
no.
And I want for make and clear say we dey look at causative factors. We dey look
Yes.
at the war now. But waiting they
Exactly, ma.
underneath this war. Now Mr. Jalo Jamboya
The things that
don't
will cause
establish.
the war. Let's
Yes.
not begin blame people. Let's
Yes.
blame the reasons.
Yes. Causative factors. So we don't arrive today. A lot of Sierra Leoneans they don't make and clear, they don't understand. Say the war did not begin in 1991. No, sir. It started way before that.
Way before.
So it was preparation. All
It's
the
a
damages.
class war.
Yes.
It's a class war. Let's put on straight.
Yeah.
And that class war they go on right now.
So
Yes.
I absolutely
Yes.
agree. This is why
Yes.
from the
Yes.
onset of the show, now we
Yes.
open a dandy and we
Yes.
una all two for let we get historical antecedents. Who side the team begin? Even to
Yes.
colonial times where Brother Jallo do
Yes.
very brilliantly.
Yes.
Yeah. Let we go now the platform quickly and see people in contribution. Let we acknowledge them. Delwyn Thomas, good evening from Northern Ireland. Usman Conte, greetings. Asana to Wunde, hi. Mohamed Kamara, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Let's continue to share. Many thanks. Otundo Sise, I am watching from Sweden. Thank you very much, Sweden. And nade brother, nade you this. So tell you Sabi
No,
Otundo.
I didn't know it. It didn't neighbor me.
Oh no, I can always mix them up. I'm sorry.
It didn't neighbor me. I'm a neighbor.
Okay, Mega Rogers, right. Good evening, all. Many thanks. Asana to Wunde, Usman Conte, and 8 other people are watching. Mohamed Kamara is watching. Prince Tope is watching. Mohamed Sisse is watching. Good evening, all. That's Mr. Tope. Alusain Dumbuya is watching. Amanatu Sanusi is watching. Junior Kabo is watching. Alhassan Kaba is watching. Lawrence Fox is watching. Alfred James Mosiri is watching. Bakar Lee is watching. Alhaji Mahmoud Kamara. Thank you, sir, for your history lessons. However, why Kutubu history is different from Mr. Jallo's?
Kutubu is not Sabi Bosalo. You don't in America.
There we go. So you don't hear the answer. Kutubu not in America. Okay. Unisa Fofana is watching. Right. Sound education this evening. Thank you, sirs. Sudiatu Freeman is watching. Koki Moba is watching. Abdul Sise is watching. Samuel Sabayo is watching. Janet, keep up the good work from one of you in progressive, Koki Woba. Thank you very much, Sister Janet Loyeridat. Ibrahim Mansari is watching. Mata Bangura is watching. Aisha Kamara is watching. Emma Williams is watching. Koroma Mohammed is watching. Marie Kamara is watching. Maruf Kaloko is watching. Sise Ibrahim, Samuel Bangura is watching. Banks Umar is watching. Radcliffe Williams is watching. Maria Tufofana watching. Bobby Brown is watching. Hi, Bobby. Hello, everybody. John Sise is watching. Alaji Mahmoud Kamara, very true. John Conte is watching. Usman Ba is watching. Alpha Kamara is watching. Bobo Leon B, a true historian. I love him. Please, Mr. Prince Kroma, make him a regular contributor on your program. I believe this is for Mr. Jamboria.
Tell us if
Kariba
they
is
pay me consultancy fee. Yeah?
no worries. It will help us contribute towards that PD.
I'm
Bakari J is
just joking.
watching. Sise James, Aliu Conte, 4D Sise is watching. Celia Boma is watching. Memuna Johnson in Sweden. Hi, Memuna. How you do? Bobo Leon B. Mr. Prince Kroma, please respectfully ask Mr. Jallo whether he has written a book on an academic article that use Sierra Leonean learners could benefit from. If he hasn't yet, please, we need to encourage and support him to make such valuable contribution to our young generation. So I want to ask you
I am not
respectfully, sir,
planning. I
guessing.
plan to write a book 2 years ago. I still they do the research.
Okay.
Because the purpose of that book now for show how we all related by blood in Sierra Leone. But I don't make up my mind, say instead of a book, I'm going to write it into something that will be made into films. Because
Okay.
if you write a book, now few they read.
Yeah. Yeah,
when you
people
make a
will know
film,
even
it reach a wider populace.
Okay, many thanks for that. Bobo Leon B, you don't hear the response of Mr. Jamboya Jallo, and this go warm your heart because not only they think about you, they think beyond you. Amina Ajami is watching. Bit on Leon will ask. Jamiru Tarawali is watching. Fode Mustafa Toure is watching. Abdullah Kamara. This got me interesting. Lost very important people in my family and lost a very good opportunity. Okay, Asanatu Coca Gladys is watching. Abdul Sise is watching. Alusan Jalo, Cherno Barry. Yomi Batos Wilson is watching. Cherno S. Barry, Alusan Jalo. Bozi Women, Al Samura is
Hello,
watching.
Yomi Bathos Wilson. I'm a best friend
You
and
recognize the name.
Nicola
Here we
Salon.
go. So Yomi Batos
Lovely,
Wilson, you have
lovely
been greeted
person.
warmly by the warmest
Now
voice
the,
in media,
now the former
social
Minister
media.
of Education in Peking.
Yes, my daughter. Yes, yes,
There we
He
go.
was
So
Minister of
very
Education when I entered secondary school.
yes.
Yomi, there you are. You've been discussed on the platform right now, and thank you so much
Yes,
for
very
watching.
important.
Please
One of
keep
Very
the
on
best
important,
watching.
brother.
ministers
Please
of
spread the good
education
news.
we will ever get.
Yes, absolutely,
Okay, please
absolutely.
spread the good news. Okay, Sister Janet.
Yes, sir.
Sister Janet,
Yes.
we don't identify the case how we got into this in the first place, and we also are kind of nervous because
Yes.
it looked like say we kind of they walk towards that we don't wish to, but
Yes.
it seems like the hallmarks the way we see it today, we they
Yes.
see some of it. This is not the
Yes.
sentiment being expressed by a lot of people. Them. So much
Yes.
so that we not fed a tribal war, which now the nastiest war we people like in fed. You and I
Yes.
was in Liberia. We know what in
Yes.
tribal war mean. Then fetch a
Yes.
tribal war. And this BNTM Sister Janet, we hear a lot
Yes.
of things about tribal war. And
Yes.
that involve high profile people, including the President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, His Excellency retired Brigadier Julius Maada Bio,
Mm-hmm.
and then the opposition leader,
Mm-hmm.
apparently the opposition leader, because we don't know yet, but the
Flag
man
bear.
really around the
Yes.
place, Dr. Samura.
Yes. Yes.
Recently, he produced a tape in which he's been accused, and I sure say you don't listen to that tape. There.
Yes, I have.
I'll give you an
Mm-hmm.
insight or an overview of how you see these things they play out and how dangerous they are if they are, and why we need for backup from that stream there because it won't tell well.
You know, every time when we possibly when a leader of a country, they rely on supremacy of in tribe because this is about supremacy. Tribalism is really about supremacy of somebody in tribe for protect them, for promote them against the wishes of others in the country, and it's dangerous. Definitely, it's dangerous. Discrimination of any type is dangerous. So when we see somebody at the helm of power doing something of this nature, it's not going to sit well with the rest of the people because, after all, Sierra Leone, we all get them. Not a one person get them. We are all what they call tenants in common. In other words, Sierra Leone, you not Sierra Leonean, Mr. Johnson, I'm not Sierra Leonean. You know, if you be president, you're Sierra Leonean. You don't own. Nobody owns the country. We own it jointly, if you know what I mean. Yeah. So as a result of that, when one tribe, the tribe we may belong to, so the Mende people, them, not all of them, but if the leader of that tribe decides to use this tribe for set this tribe against other tribes in Sierra Leone, some of us are going to come out and say we don't like it. We don't like tribal hierarchy. Is all false. It is not. It is not acceptable. We shouldn't even we should discuss it. We shouldn't tolerate it. Period. And so that one message to the president, we don't get people in the Mende faction. We don't begin tell and say, we don't want this. We don't want this. And we don't want this. We're telling him straight away, whatever game you're playing, please do not play it at the expense of the people. When we come to Samura Kamara in situation, a lot of people misunderstood Kamara. So Samura Kamara in audio or video. Samura Kamara was being sarcastic. Samura Kamara was saying that, yes, Samura Kamara was saying that this is what is happening in the country. He was highlighting the ills of this president to say that he was promoting, to say that he was promoting tribalism, which is dangerous. In other words, if you're not a Kuruma, you're not a Kamara, you're not a get job. He was highlighting the problems that we would face right now. You know, but a lot of people take it out of context.
Yeah.
You see, I listened to that audio video over and over and over. He wasn't preaching tribalism.
Exactly.
If he were, he would have said, well, the Simini and the Limba people, una self una grab, una, you know, he would have instructed them.
But Samura is not Limba. Samura is not Timini. Samura is a cousin to the Mendes. He's loco.
Okay.
Yeah, carry on, Sister Janet.
So you know, so this whole situation, we are saying that when he said Buwa this year, he was just repeating the language without, you know, just a little bit of fun at the end of it. I don't want to let people misunderstand who side all this come out. He is frustrated with the way this incumbent government they behave. That was all he was trying to do there.
Exactly.
Highlight a problem in a way that you go mimic the person where they create that problem there. You know? So Samura Kamara knows that these things should not happen in a country with small soul. He was just trying to bring it, put person in yes and say, this is what is happening. I want you to know, and this should not continue. And some of us who belong to this tribe, we are saying, I am saying, other many people are saying, we don't want tribalism. We don't want it today, we don't want it tomorrow, we don't want it Tego. You know, yeah. I got a very noisy background. I will let Mr.
No problem.
Jalo Jambura take up. Yeah.
Children,
yeah, no worries at all. Many thanks for that. I will come to Brother Jamboya for polish data, because I think there's an agreement here on the platform. I take umbrage to the fact that I got vilified, I got lampooned, I got crucified for saying the same thing where you say, because that's exactly how we see them. So, yeah. Mr. Jambori, I pose the same question to you again with a caveat around them. Is it intentional that other people in the tribe for covered and track, not making accusations per se? So therefore, waiting Dr. Samura Kamara say, as much as a large population of the country see and say, this is not a tribal element. There was nothing tribal in what you say, other than identifying, and remember saying an opposition person, identifying the ills of the society, and hopefully governments go listen. How you self see Mr. Jamboya?
Before I tell you how I see him, I want you a background. Samura Matthew Wilson Kamara is a born loco who understands when a Mende man speaks. And the Mende man understands when he speaks his loco. Secondly, this man has been married to a woman who comes from an area where Mende is the language, Pujang. They have lived together for more than 4 decades. They have children that are grown-ups. Samura Matthew Wilson Kamara was recruited in 1993 by the IMF to act as public service reform manager and also double as financial secretary. Within that period, he recruited the present financial secretary and people like Matthew Dingy. If he was a tribalist, he would not have done that. Now, to answer the question, as Sister Janet say, Samura was making a sarcasm. It's the truth of the situation we have in Sierra Leone now. Take a look at the structure of public service employees. They are all from one tribe, the Mende tribe. Who did it? Madabio. And he publicly said he can only work with people he knows. So who is the tribalist? Is it not Madabio? But now left for the Bentel issues then as alone. People are using this to promote not tribalism. They want to seem to be good to Madabio. Where will they preach now? Let's see what's going to be. One called me yesterday. Somebody who is my friend. Hey, Chochi, brother. I said, what I'm brother? I said, me na free to me born. I get fumble from Binti. I get fumble from Pujao. I get fumble from Kailau. When I'm blood relatives. Me na Sierra Leonean. I know. Me not to wow they say me na Mende or me na Timini. So now mix me by rubbish with their party. If not that you call me for, do I not waste me time? I told him that. You know, as I they always say, we have to face our fears in Sierra Leone. It's easy for me people and play sycophant for get good name with politicians when issues like this come up. Samura, I don't listen what he say over and over. Even the way they talk, I go no say the man, he was saying it as a joke, not a way of instigating people. So if people don't understand it that way, like Achebe said, old women get uneasy when bones. Old women get uneasy when old bones are mentioned in a proverb. This is exactly what we see. But Samura is not a tribalist.
Mr. Jamboya, the follow-up question will be, of course, I asked him earlier on, but I don't think say we get the answer there. Why then is it being played out wide and far? Is it out of ignorance or is it deliberate?
It's deliberate by some people who want to associate with Madabio, not the Mende people. Now pull the Mende factor or Timni factor out of this. As far as me know, Mende man and Timni man have been on the cohabit for long, over almost 100 years. Now recently, we begin getting problems here because recently we get functioning illiterates, we want jobs, now then they promote them here. It's coming from the intellectual class, those miseducated idiots. We want for be seen to be in the good books, now then they promote and circulate them things here. But the Mende and Timini people not get problem. I know Sierra Leone as a Sierra Leonean because of the job where my parents then do. When I been to go school, I live now every big tongue na salon. The first time I ever know say issues of tribe and region they exist now 1975 when I entered Jala University. Now the time but Western Area Student Association, Cornell Student Association, not that when they call me for Western Area, I say when I clear out and now they go, they mean a Sierra Leonean. It's the universities in Sierra Leone, the tertiary institutions, now then they breed tribalism and divide. And it's high time we begin to say it. Not to the ordinary man on the street. Samura is not a tribalist. He would not be a tribalist. You know, they go in a public, they go and make statements in local or what. You never hear Samura talk local in public. But if you don't go publicly, they go talk na Mende as a president. Well, I'll talk the two.
Okay, many thanks for that, Sister Janet. This issue of tribal affiliation, tribal association, is nothing new. At the beginning of this program, we look back during colonial times, how we were segregated, fragmented, balkanized, just so the colonizers then go achieve the kind of aim, the objective.
Yes.
I think that we all agree on that, and they help for set the stage for what we see today, both politically and socially. So the issue of tribal affiliation is nothing new. The SLPP practice them, the APC practice them, and what we see now is as a consequence of the then. Would you agree with the sentiments, Cindy?
Well, you know, Prince, let us go back to, you know, tribalism itself is not, and I'm not saying what I can so you go laugh. Tribalism itself is not a bad thing if you use them positively. Because tribalism just means to say the tribe where you protect them, you promote them, you know, those are the things. But what is wrong is when you take them against another person them inside the same country. That's where the problem is. You see, because I remember one time I did talk to somebody who studied the area, so a Nigerian friend of mine. He said, Janet, we are all tribalists, if you want to ask me. In the tribe where you come out, you feel superior for that tribe day. But within the young people and self, he say, una go talk about anything day for say, oh, now we tribe now strong. Now we tribe now get good woman then. If you marry this tribe, you go get good wife. He said, we do all these things. You know, so tribalism itself only used negatively Now, in we say, well, it affect the lives of others. That is to say, when it comes to services, you talk about employment business. You go employ people, you go employ a certain. And this make Rwanda and Kenya and Ghana, they don't put a document in place for prevent a certain number, a certain tribe for they in majority na any particular institution. And the Kenyans them get for them I want that thing about neighbor fender now, but next time we'll come back, I'll bring that. But Mr. Jalo Jambra go familiar, and as I say, Prince go know about that. The model way the Kenyans they use. Any working place, yes, any workplace, they get a certain number, therefore try for balance them. Distribute, yes,
and they even get a quota for women.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, sir. So what we're saying is this sentiment, it is politically engineered because somebody else in your I mind the work. I will use this to willpower. Once and what's in the joke about all this, Mr. Jalo Jambura and Prince, not forget say the Timinism. Now they did the highest majority in Sierra Leone. The Menen can second. So you will want play politics plus the Limbaden can third. You will want play politics and want for stay in power. Sheikha Stephen had done this. Sheikha Stephen had seen that, hey, they men they are them boku. Then Limbaya then said boku, the Timini them when are they force. Make a blend the Timini and Limba and we could push him aside. And he did succeed. I could not deny that. He succeeded in doing that.
Was a Mende.
It was, yes, but when the minute they push him aside, he came back at them. You see what I'm saying?
But when he became president, he had sympathy for them. It's their brothers.
I don't want to talk about. Because please don't say. Please, he wasn't manipulative.
We don't have to be tribalistic.
It's a natural.
Please, when they talk in the public, we'll get for caution.
What do they talk? Tribal sentiments. Yes, Prince. Tribal sentiments is a natural phenomenon among human beings.
Absolutely.
It is. It is only. It's not only the politics and the politics no more. Where they want to use them for marginalize others. Now the problem don't come.
It's wrong.
We cannot accept it. And me, Prince, the other day I hear Dr. Samura in tape, I made an audio. I get 2-3 people that will call me. Hey, Janet, so say you're a Mende woman. If you continue for talk so, I say, well, I don't need to be told. I know so. I know say, yes. I know say Samura not a tribalist. Exactly. I know say Madabio is a tribalist. I know that.
Exactly. But the point here is, you are making a judgment based on something where the man say. Why can't we all just have an open mind? Look what he say, listen to what he. This is also a city decision.
You know why?
Earlier on say now
Grace,
people are responsible for drive the direction as to how people they want for let people and think. There was nothing tribal in waiting the man say. And that person the way caught me. Oh, you not read A-level, O-level history and Sierra Leone this and that. And of course, I know the person will say that waiting it belong to and how.
Okay, Prince, I'll tell you one thing today now. I'll tell you one thing today. Anytime somebody talks something about somebody, no say that person na himself they talk about. Man we bambot, na they suspect he will say they bambot. Man we the thief, na they suspect other people say then the thief. You see others
right there. I like the way how you put
see others according to how you think.
This night exactly I say, look in the mirror, have a look in the mirror. Because what you say now, what you think. That's exactly what you in your mind. It's an expression.
All those who are misinterpreting what Samura Kamara said, now so then they think.
Okay, let's listen to this quick video and I want to know both analysis on this video.
To the people of this country, we feel that way.
Una de here?
No sound.
No, we're not hearing the sound.
Come on, sound. What's wrong with you then? Yeah. All my video
trying.
then they make problem
You
today.
don't check on the sharing section. I think there is a place you should click to get the sound going. Take
Yeah,
them
I
down
mean,
there, you take them up back. Where they share screen, look down. Sometimes they because a day pan Zoom. If you click and let the sound come. We're not the area still. Why?
Yeah, if we ban can down and put them back.
this other element is different from sound sharing. This now, of course, now share, but it get a different element. That's all right.
Okay.
Let's continue. Let's continue with that. Maybe I might find a way.
But
Now,
I
easy
think
thing
I'm
for me.
conversant with this video where they try for share.
Okay, what was the president saying there?
This is exactly what about now that 98.1 Usaina, I believe now Asma James asking the question about
Yes.
the division and waiting people and they say where say this country don't divide.
They
for
don't
quite a long
divide from
time.
the time of the British.
Yeah, or the
Yes.
British.
Guy makes
So
the
in
country
can
divide.
continue.
Yeah,
So
that's the
in
video
can
I was trying to
continue.
say.
Is that it?
Yes.
Well, the day when me here, I said then you should resign. That
I
was
tell
what I
you.
said.
I tell you.
If you cannot solve the problem of division, resign. Resign. That was what he was saying exactly. The country had always been divided.
This is a divider. We say Timini line, Mende line. We get this, we get that.
What you been saying you can't change.
Yes.
Country divided. We get you now an opportunity for talk to the people of this country. We feel that way. We feel aggrieved. So as head of state, what you they do for bring the country come together?
The country always divided. With man they divide them into north, unity, into south, and the east. We say divider. We say Timini line. We get Mende line. We get this, we get that.
What you been saying you can't change.
Yes.
What you they do for bring and come together? Answer.
Yes, you were elected to solve that problem.
Well, what was his answer there?
Nothing. That's all.
Oh my goodness.
Chaka Stevens, when he been no say Sierra Leone divided on them lines then day, that was why he had 2 vice presidents. That was his own way of solving that divide. And any side where Chaka Stevens been they go, he been they preach national unity.
Yes.
I remember one time Chaka Stevens went to board, he tell them they opened the house where them build for him. I think na radio station they now. At the beginning, somebody spoke in Mende. They wanted him to speak in Mende. He was able to speak Mende Timni and so very well. He refused.
Yes.
He refused.
But I get a view on this president in video where I play, and let me just explain my view to Una quickly.
Yes.
Well, it's now an established fact that we president is not a good orator, and it's sometimes fun and difficult for explain things. I'm not making an excuse for him per se. So from the beginning of this program, some of the elements them where we identify as being the factor for the condition where we find ourselves marching towards the war and after the war. Now, as a consequence of the tribal game them way the colonialists them play with we waiting and left with we and now we self continue for manipulate that situation there.
Yes.
So we believe say on this video, the answer, the question when the girl asked him, that's what the president was attempting to answer by saying they may not divide this country before. I mean, he not articulate and well, but I believe say that's what he was trying to say. The wait man may not come, he may not say this, he may not say that, but he missed the girl in question altogether. And
Absolutely.
Yes,
absolutely.
So now in fault per se, if you know what I mean. So again, back to the video again. Can we have second thoughts on the video? Like Janet, they say absolutely. And Usai then we find fault with him. We probably, if we no answer differently in the end. Say, well, then divide we and what have you. But the girl say, you as a president.
She was very specific.
She was very specific.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think
and he was saying not to me business if the country divide or not.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, this has been a very interesting program. We're coming towards the final minutes of this all-important program. But just for,
If I was asked that question, you know what I would have said?
of course, that's why it was not you.
I would have said, yes, this is part of the problem. Who make a come for be president, so we all go come together. I
Yes.
go get people that when I experts, let them
Yes.
can't sit down, let we talk out for talk this thing, let get one word. Simple.
Yes.
Unfortunately,
Straightforward.
this not to
Yes.
be you. This president is noted for
I
fluffing
know
his line.
Okay, Prince, why you not asking me what's in it for don't say if I were in that position?
Yeah, no, not also I want to ask you, Steph. I want to ask you another way round.
Yes.
If you been get an opportunity for city president in terms of an advice, what would you be telling him? Both on this particular video, in terms of the question where they ask him how he respond and why he respond, and the other things that we want to talk about, the tribal sentiment them and him being the leader. Waiting for him be you question then to Ram or you sentiment then to her.
You know, I'll take you back to the years and months in 2012 we were friends when we used to speak to each other. And one thing he always said was, "Anyone make sure say the Pekin said they work on a street, you're not hungry. You know that everybody gets Saifole aid, everybody gets, you know, you get job, you know."
And Janet, now there people like fault me, but when something sweet me, forgive me, I must interject. So you and the president, the now president, una been a talk on a first-time basis, and he was saying these things to you. How you been judging because you're a very smart woman? You think he been genuine, right?
Well, yes. Because you're not being president yet. This was 2012 when you're not being president yet. Yes, he was very passionate. He was very consistent, and in that conversation there, so I warmed up to him. You know that you want to make clear everybody. Yes. So if you ask me the question, if I were his advisor, you know, and I want it, I go tell him, unify this country. Try to get this country, you know, in a working, create a working relationship with everybody. Remove the tribal business, you know, remove the tribe come out. Treat everybody where they say one country, one people. If you are telling me one country, one people, so what you're saying is we are all to be treated equally.
Yeah.
I would have told him that. And I would have said to him, do you and I beg you, if you go Bo, you go Kenema, you go any Mende speaking place, please do not speak Mende. Please speak with lingua franca when I Creole. Please do that. I would have told him that. I say, you know why are they asking for do that? You want to unify the country. We are one people, one country. I would have told him that.
Yeah, brilliantly said. Mr.
If you don't want to talk Creole, we go now, man. They country, let talk English, man. They man and they boku sabi book.
But is it not again the same question to you? But you they always get the caveat, Mr. Jallo, Mr. Jamboya.
Yes, sir.
But is it not the fact that I mean the president, of course, is the president of the entire nation, but it go to one section of the nation where happen for be in young people them. So for embody, you know, and feel in people and feel them is sort of the communicate to them. Waiting, I think, say, no, putting the tribal sentiment aside because it's not like he's addressing the nation in Mende. Now, the section of the country, Usa Ego, which is predominantly people and we cannot belong to them. Had it been another president from a different tribe, assumably Samura, theoretical reasons, Samura gonna Mende line, for affiliate, associate, and endear himself to the people, he might speak a line or two after all a day where come from. So what's wrong with President Bio go there and speak Mende to Mende people?
Well, let me, Mr. Jallo, give me 1 minute to answer that.
Go ahead, ma.
You see, Prince, you have set the distinction yourself. You don't set the distinction. Samura not to Mende. So if Samura go na Mende line, it's time for talk. Buwa bisiye, bagan hoyena. All man go clap for him because they know say he acknowledge we, he accept we. You know, he's one of us. Does that answer your question, sir?
Well said, but before I let you go on that answer, before Brother Jamboya come in, no juxtapose them. So let we say President Bio was to go to the north.
Yes.
To the north.
Yes.
And then he speaks some Timney.
Yes.
Second, Utopian Dera and what have you.
Topendera, yes.
How would you have construed that, Janet?
Oh, there would have been people that be happy for say yes. It meets in people and needs. It go to every place. It align with them. It associates with them. It identify with them.
Absolutely. So finally,
just to buttress that.
Yes.
Recently, when them people and they come on Mecca, they meet an alunga. It says Salamu Alaikum to them.
Yes. It was speaking Arabic to them because it wants to identify with them.
But the bottom line in this analogy is
yes.
When you meet certain people, of course you are the president of the nation, a unifying factor.
Yes.
But once you concentrated to one segment, just like we talk about the people that we come on Makkah, what do they want to hear? Allahu Akbar and Alhamdulillah. This is their language, and the president or the head communicate that to them. That is massive. That wins him hearts and souls.
We are saying the same thing. We are saying the same thing. He is not a Muslim. He is not a Muslim. He is not a Muslim. He is not a Muslim.
Yes. He is a Catholic.
Sister Janet, finally,
yes,
finally. We say the same thing, but I asked for juxtaposition earlier on.
Yes.
So the Bio come up from the south, they go to the north.
Yes.
And when you go to the north, and not speak Creole, where probably the national, kind of
lingua franca. Yeah.
But he spoke Timni. But
because he wants to identify. He wants to identify with them.
Well,
it's a common thing.
Wrong if you go and identify.
But when you come to your Mende line, not only the language that he speaks, it is the context of the language that he speaks.
Exactly.
Well, we're not talking about the context earlier.
No, it is the context that is, and the context na in bad. If you be they say, Prince, if you be they say, oh, I don't come, can't see una blah blah blah. But it refer to opposition members as Kwamui. Foreigners, these are foreigners.
This is not 2 against 1. And in terms of the context of Jamboria, I agree. We were not talking about the context. We just look and largely say,
we are agreeing on context.
With the context.
I for Sister Janet been done, you give me the chance. I've been for saying that the context of speech. Now the issue. Because I may not be an efficient Mende speaker, but I understand Mende when it's spoken. And as a matter of fact, Madabio is my demia. My first wife, from whom I had 3 daughters, big women now, is from Bont district. She is a talker.
Yes.
So I don't hate Madabio. I only don't like what he's doing.
An opportunity for talk to the people of this country. We feel that way. We feel aggrieved. So as head of state, what do they do for bring the country together?
The country always divided. It's mandate divided.
So once we play that for you, sir, continue.
This me understand.
Anyway, it's been really interesting.
No, but you see, at the end of the day, some of us as elders of Sierra Leone, we would want to say 1 or 2 things for the people of Sierra Leone. And I will start with the president. The office of presidency is the embodiment of a nation.
Absolutely.
Not a tribe.
Yes.
When you're there, officially embody yourself as the nation, not as a member of a tribe or a member of a family. Some of us have refused willfully to go to that office because we know our weaknesses. I know I would not be an efficient president because the temperament I get, so nonsense with some man they do, they made them beat you in a stadium. Some big man, the nonsense way then they do, way matter be they accommodate. I swear to God, then they go put you in a stadium, then give you. Tomorrow morning, then go make coup and kill me. So that's why I'm avoiding presidency. But I am ready to work with anybody who is ready to work for Sierra Leone.
Yes.
Because I know Sierra Leone. I was born in Freetown, but I had traveled all the length and breadth of Sierra Leone by the time I finished school. Then I went to a college right in the middle of Mende land.
Jala.
Mende. From where I go Jalate Akomode, I no get problem with no Mende man. I have friends who are Mende. I have friends from every linguistic group. Do you allow pipe down this thing about tribalism? You know they benefit nobody.
At all not.
Who do they benefit now? Foreigners. Look at Sierra Leone. A country with so much potentials. All the people who are owners of their country, they are living haggard lives. But people come from foreign lands, 6 months, 9 months, you see them, they live good life. Can't we think? Don't we know we are doing something wrong to ourselves?
Mr. Jamboya, we get 6 or 7 more minutes on the program, and you very much sound like the summation of the program, and you get your last 3 minutes for your final summation. So I will ask you for ceasefire right there, sir.
Okay, sir. I don't ceasefire.
Always very interesting. Always very interesting.
I don't ceasefire.
When you get mocked, when they go for go recruit you, you afraid. You're not big afraid man, you on away.
I make a cost. And the one that cost the hang bars for me. If I go free now, then they go for the
program that we have here this evening. And it's 11 years of war. It's a very serious issue. I mean, this was like 20 years ago. We managed to fend some kind of a peace, but we ask whether this peace, whether it fully attained, whether the recommendations made by the TRC and the Truth and Reconciliation Committee was ever met. They show some empathy and sympathy as well with victims. Remember, say many died along this brutal path, but there are many others we get for live with the scars of war. And the most disgusting thing, the most reprehensible thing, is the same people. Then they cross path with people and we commit an atrocity to them, and still yet justice is halfway done. And this is part of the discussion here today.
It has never been done as a matter of fact.
Yes.
Yeah. So with Winner Studio here, even though not towards the end of this program, is Sister Janet Matamusa, of course, a regular voice, one of the most brilliant voices in social media. But when they refuse to show in face, there are very few people that we lucky for don't see in face now, but Jamboya Jalo. We
refuse my friend, how the camera they latch on meeting. I refuse. I don't get nothing to hide from. If they say me a stupid fool, I say yes, sir. That man a thief man, I say yes, sir. Me na fool man, a thiefness I be for. Don't all vex now. I don't cost myself.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So, Prince, I'm gonna ignore you. Okay. So that's what you, Mr. Jallo. That's Prince that is talking about.
Okay.
Okay. So Prince, my last few minutes. Do you want me to say something? Have we lost Prince? I think we have.
I think we don't lost him.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen,
Janet,
for all those where they watch.
I'm back.
Okay, all right.
And like I say,
okay. Yes.
Don't forget for tuning. I believe it's going to be on this Sunday. We need to put the final, ink on paper with former Ambassador John Lee.
Yes.
A man will be very active in all of what we talk about, so we help for bring business alone, but yet was marginalized and sidelined. We go hear that story, but more. They go add on waiting we don't understand today. We will talk about more of the documents them we affiliated with this entire process. The Lome 1, the Lome 2, and all the conferences then we then go. The seizure of Fodis and Corner Nigeria, the incarceration, incarceration of other people and we help. Where even Pakaba say, una know waiting, una do quite well. Then General Hassan Sisi, the man we take over from Fodis Sanko, where Fodis Sanko was incarcerated in Nigeria. Pakaba say you were right. You helped we for bring the war to an end. But unfortunately, is still the language na jail na Rwanda. And somewhere, somehow, I don't manage for talk to these people and before, and we go try for bring them again at some other point. So Ambassador Lee will be on the program this weekend, hopefully God willing. So finally, a brilliant program and just on time. We get 7 minutes for roundup. So we'll give we guests then 3.5 minutes each for do the final submission on waiting I consider for be a very educative program. It's not only me when they say so, the people that when they watch now the chat room, they've expressed that. And just before I cede the platform to them, beginning with Sister Janet, look, ladies and gentlemen, we've only got one country, and that's Sierra Leone.
Yeah.
Yes.
So where we talk, dear, na save time and let we try for listen to each other.
Yes.
I mean, there are many things that I can talk about, but just on the Samura case, it is just common sense. But some people and just no one for listening or then get an agenda. So I take umbrage to people and we come and begin for just I'm used to it by the way, but begin for cost me on a different line. You know, me intelligence and what have you. It doesn't really bother me much because it's on you. It's on you, and I repeat, it's on you. Because waiting with they do so now, yeah, is subjected to the adjudication of the people that when they watch we and they make the final decision, not you. So next time, think. Another note again, we can't get 2, 3, 5, 10,000 people and they watch we, and then we get 10 likes, 50 likes, 100 likes. If you disagree with we, make it known. So probably we will improve with services as to waiting we want
Exactly.
bring out Cantona. We also get a story where they come up, and this is not a bombshell, on Cherno Ramadan Maju Bar. Easy playing a double game. That's coming up on the dinner now. But for now, Sister Janet, your final summary, please.
Well, as we begin the program, we talk about the loss of lives, unnecessary loss of lives, and it's a history. What we never forget. It's a scar every one of us are carrying, in the sense that we lost with family members. So when things like this come up, we think about those family members, and you think about your family members, and all of the people we die, picking them when they caught hand and everything. It was a serious tragedy in our history. But what we're saying is we cannot erase that history, but we don't want to repeat that history. So we are saying to everybody in our social media, the commentators in our social media, the bloggers in our social media, una no spread information, not misleading information. We go when they target a particular person for spread information we ourselves not understand. We are begging everybody as we are walking away towards elections. Let us thread carefully, because we want a nation, a small nation of 7 million people. When are the number of people within inside London, make we hold this country as we're all tenants in common. Make we hold this country together as we young and treat them with love. Make we not bring nothing come. We go back to Saudi. So the government wants it to them, tribalism, get rid of it, please. We want it to them, open doors for everybody, make everybody get chance for thrive at the country where they call Sierra Leone. Thank you for having me. And Mr. Jallo Jambrea, my love for you always. You educate me every time I come across you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma.
Yeah, brother. Jallo Jamboria, it's your turn, sir. Many thanks.
I have one message to Sierra Leone. I not completely prove it, but I don't prove 60%. We all na brother and sisters na Sierra Leone. Mende Timni and Creole now be small ethnic groups them where because of convenience they use their languages them for do business. It grow today. The real Mende people them then get special names. Anywhere where they talk Mende way you read name Kamara, Koroma, Sise, Tarawali, etc. These are people who have blood connections to the same people you find in the north. The soirees in Pujaun had their forefathers originate from Gambia. They entered Gambia from Guinea as Islamic teachers. 5 of them traveled to Freetown. 3 remained in Freetown and started the Madingo community at Magazine Court, then built the mosque. 1 can Sidon Moyamba, the other one goes Sidon Pujaun. So if a soiree in Pujaun preaches tribalism today, because somebody in Gambia is speaking Timini, you are nothing but an idiot. Because if you don't know who you are, then you are an idiot. The same with the Tarawali, the Fofana, the Koroma, the Kamara. Even in Pujaun, we find out they get Banguras, then they contest, then they Sila, then they. Do we know who these people are? Is it because they speak Mende today, they are Mende? Now everybody who they talk Creole na Salona Creole. Let we left this thing. Let we begin ask ourselves, what we go do for make Salon better? If we not get the answer, we not contact some of we get the answer. I'm not going able to say all now, but we'll get the answer. But the answer begin with one word: trust.
Yes.
Trust. The tell been the younger woman from Bont. It be the talk Mende. Na trust make I na musidom mu born 3 girl picking them. They all na big woman then today. Even though we not sit on they like today, but I still get respect for them. Also because of tribal business make us scatter.
Mm-hmm.
So who side this tribalism come out now? Because a few people want for go sit down, now government for they steal a few million leons. If they want money, we can show them how to make billions of leons. They know they do anything illicit. Money in a sense they make them. Mark Zuckerberg, he go college with him company them, then start a chat thing. In sense tell and say, this get money, now he say me they come on a college, he go and make Facebook. Today na billionaire. And since they make money, not to power or being a bully, they make money. There is a way we can make Sierra Leone, but we'll get for pipe down this heat. We'll pipe down the heat. Some of we not want nothing again, but we want for go, we take part and assist for change the tides for people them. Let that man a village self get good life. Then we die in peace, because that's the best legacy you can leave for passing here on earth.
Yes.
Please. Bele Mungoy. Now left this thing now. When I talk back, say myself not tribalist. I don't care.
Thank you so much. Prince, are you there? It appears we have lost our host. So, but yes, at the end, I think the program, let me say about 7 minutes. I don't know how many minutes are left now, but I think to say we've come to the
yes, Prince.
We've come to the end of the program, and we want to say thank you to everybody we watch. We join we don't left comment for we. We thank everybody and each person.
Okay, it's coming.
Yes, each one about getting rid of tribalism. We don't want it in Sierra Leone.
We should get rid of it. Let us live together as brothers and sisters. If I get something no say,
one people, one
go
country.
help Janet to say come out la call and say Janet, I get this thing. Try not let get you people allow do this thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Then we all learn for better we self. Don't left this tribalism.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much.
Janet,
yes.
But Jamboria, many thanks. I mean, I've been in the background. The reason one or come, I hear you want to talk. It's because I've been try for dry me tears, but he refused for dry. I mean, take a look at the picture.
I'm so sorry.
On the screen.
Stop crying, my friend. Crying cannot help us. We get for face with
we're supposed for helping Pekin. Imagine. I mean, swap places quickly.
Yes.
Man, we're supposed for happy picking. Just take a look at
Picking.
this.
Now the
Yes.
idiocy of a few
Take a look at this.
intellectuals now
And
Yes.
this has to happen every day
Now
for
in
the rest
life.
of the life of the
In
man
life.
who born this
Yes.
picking.
Yes.
It even make the
I
Pekin
mean,
able to do something progressive.
take a look at this one.
You know, Prince, like I told you, I had my friend Lamin Almami or something come to my door. You know, them been cutting hand. And Mr. Jallo Jambore, I was shocked. I saw all these things on TV, but when the man to my phone me domota saying hand cut, I was shocked. And that day I cried so much. But you know what he said to me, Janet? He says, Auntie Janet, it's not about crying. It's about fighting to prevent waiting happen so for happen
Let it
again.
not happen
Let it
again.
not happen again.
And
He said
that's
you
why
can't-
some of
Yes.
us are coming here to talk now.
Yes. Yes.
If you want
Prince,
to
be
kill
strong.
person, can't kill me. Boy Jalo
Yes.
Jamborea.
Mm.
Give the people of Sierra Leone
So,
free.
Be strong. Be strong.
Naturally in position of
strong.
a feeding picking.
Yes.
Take a look at this.
Be strong.
And
Be strong.
let me just agree with that. Ladies and gentlemen, una pardon me. After all, I'm just human.
You're human.
And
Yes.
And I'll take this
I
personally.
have cried a lot before I got here.
Yeah,
Never mind, I composed. So.
Yeah. So
Yes.
let me just get these photos of they are really upsetting me. And this is the end of the program, obviously. And the point here is somewhere this has to end, Brother Jambori. I think we lost Sister Janet. It has to end, and this is the point. We can't share these tears and grieve and mourn.
I will give a piece of advice.
Yeah.
Sierra Leoneans should come together. Let we talk to we parliamentarians, them, let them come up with a bill. Let we get a national commission. We go look into some of them things here. Let it be independent of politics. Let it be independent of politics. Let it not be partisan. Let we look into them things here. Who that get for begging companies say, boy, I beg. To say I am sorry does not take your humanity from you. It only tells the world that you are a civilized person. Me pikin were born, they say sorry to him if I know say I wrong them.
Okay. We need for end the program, Mr. John.
Now we end them, sir. Now we end them.
Yeah, many thanks for that advice. So ladies and gentlemen, this has been about it. We want to say thank you to all the people that were tuning in. The point here is, if we find these actions will happen over just a little over 2 decades ago, we find them abhorrent, reprehensible, disgusting, and we say never again. And make sure say politicians they not continue for manipulate us for drive we towards the end goal, which is to perpetuate themselves in power. I'm not playing politics here when I speak on the platform. My agenda is country first. I know say the country is so divided, it's so polarized, too much of identity politics, but the duty for some of us in the program is for see usa we come out. We feel the pain of we people them. When they talk about economic problems now, we know say the government itself, you do have problems, so there's much to be done. But like we say again, your neighbor not go to cry, and then they sympathize and empathize with your neighbor. Your neighbor not go get bearing, then you the mamina power the dance. These are the kind of differences, and maybe at the time where we grow up. And we know say some people that we don't grow up because we do have a very youthful society. So we know say the people that we don't grow up now, people them of we own picking their own age, they probably don't understand a lot of times where we're coming from, but we duty is for continue, for educate them, for produce the information that will encourage them for listen. I want to say thank you to the two guests them, and we'll not forget there are many programs coming on the TNN Media Empire, and this has been a wonderful production. Until then, thank you so much to you all for listening, and can I say goodbye and take a